Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com.
People are interested.
But you know what? If you send me an email, you'll get a response, and it will be from me.
And I really don't have any desire to.
You haven't watched the trailer at all?
No.
A lot of people haven't heard of the couch division, so
It's a comfy division to be in, though.
it's super comfy. It's almost too comfy at times.
Your response to teams who see that as a new potential issue with districts?
Yeah, that's really a two-pronged question.
Let's see if there's any damage from that fall. There was. They snapped. 330. Still on their back. 6 seconds to go.
Or was the highest ranked, but then as votes continue to pour in, everything kind of changed around a little bit.
So we forget about that.
First Updates Now is brought to you by Twitch. Fun is now a Twitch partner and offering some awesome subscriber-only benefits. Subscribe today or get a free subscription each month when you have Amazon Prime by linking your account and clicking subscribe. Coming up on First Updates Now recap, Andrew Lawrence is here to talk Beach Blitz. We'll discuss a new registration process that went on this year, talk about Day of the Girl and how to bring everybody to the table, and will kneeling for the national anthem carry over into FRC. Reporting for First Updates Now, I'm Tyler Olds.
And I'm Justin Montois.
And I'm Kristine Atiyeh. Mike Stark has the night off tonight.
Yeah, and our producer today is the amazing Nik Olsen, as always. Kristine, no live art today, but you've been gracious enough to donate another pretty kick-ass giveaway from Wordplay All Day. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what we're giving away?
Yeah, tonight we'll be giving away one of the Championship Alliance sticker sheet sets. These things are pretty awesome. They're high-quality vinyl, so they can go on water bottles, they can go on laptops, and yeah, it could be yours if you stick around long enough.
It could be if you stick around long enough. Wow. Already starting it. So don't forget to be entered to win this awesome giveaway. Make sure you either click that follow button or subscribe to us. Don't forget subs. You can subscribe for free through Twitch Prime, and you do get a 5x chance to win. You also can subscribe for just a few bucks a month. So we appreciate it as it keeps us going. You get some custom emotes and some other giveaways as well coming up. We also have a Discord channel that we're going to start releasing more of our new stuff coming up. More of that later on as well. And of course, if you're watching on TBA Game Day, we welcome you to the show. Just make sure you click over on the chat for First Updates Now.
All right, so let's introduce our guest for today. Andrew Lawrence is an 8-year veteran, is a mentor and student. He focuses on mechanical design. He's been a mentor on 1323, 971, and now a mentor for 299 Valkyrie Robotics, which despite his team number is only in its second year. So welcome to the show, Andrew, and tell us a bit more about what's going on with 299.
All right, thanks, y'all. Thanks for having me on. So 299, we're a community team out of Cupertino, California. If that name sounds familiar, it's because that's where Apple headquarters is. 299 was founded in the fall about 2016. What happened was they broke off of another team, a larger team in the area, just because that team got something like 114, 115 students on there. It was way too big, and a group of kids said, we want to have a separate team so we can give more opportunities to the kids, and that's how the team started.
Well, awesome, man. Looking forward to what you can help 299 do this year, and we'll check in with you later on during the season for sure, man. So our first story for tonight is about the new registration process in FRC. As many of you know, instead of a first-come, first-served registration process like the past, Manchester has elected to change this process to a lottery system. Now, we did previously cover this before the lottery system really took place, and I wanted to bring this up to check with really the rest of our panelists here, as they all have teams, to just kind of figure out how it went and to see if your team got into their first event registration and what your overall thoughts are for this year versus previous years. And of course, second week or second event registration closes on Thursday at noon U.S. Eastern. So make sure you get that registered by then. But Justin, I really want to start with you actually, because I know that Team 3015 was one of the 148 teams who were affected by a registration error that happened. So give us your take on the process and kind of tell us what happened with your team that way.
Yeah, so overall, I think the process was actually pretty good. Especially myself and the other
I'm just gonna say
team leader for 3015, the registration process for events always seem to happen in the middle of the day. So like we're always in the middle of a class, we're both technology teachers, so we're always in the middle of a class. We're trying to like, pause our class so we can be ready at 11:59 to register for events. That's what we used to do in prior years. So removing that stress was actually pretty good. Of course, anything new is not without hiccups, and we were one of the teams affected. Really what happened was the list of events was kind of presented to teams in the system in alphabetical order. So we went through and we, clicked on the 3 events that we wanted a preference, and then we went back and reordered that list. So the actual bug was that reorder after the initial place was never updated. And First was really good about changing it for us. I mean, they just sent us an email saying, unfortunately you were affected by this error. The number 1 event that you wanted, fortunately, still has spots available. Would you like us to deregister from you from the event that you are in and register you for your preferred choice? And we just simply replied yes, and they took care of it. So it was a little bit of a hiccup there, but overall, I think it's been a pretty positive change for us.
Kristine, how'd the registration process go for you this year?
I mean, for us, it was the same. It was nice and smooth. We got into our first choice, and we'll see how the rest of the events in New England fill up. Unlike Michigan and some other districts, we don't have like a home event really. Even though my team hosts an event, that's not necessarily our home event that we're automatically registered for. But we were lucky enough to get in, and it looks like we should be able to get into the next preference that we have, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, Andrew, how about you guys on 299 or one of your other teams?
Registration was great. We got our priority list in right on time. We got the event we wanted. We'll be at OCR this year. I like the new system more than the old system. I definitely think it's an improvement, but I think it's an improvement that can also be improved upon. So hoping to see where this goes in the future.
Yeah, I think overall the response, I think Manchester's been pretty happy overall with it so far. And just from the couple of contacts I've talked to at First, it seems like relatively it's gone pretty smooth. I'm sure many of you remember what happened last year. Was that last year, right? Or the year before?
Oh, yeah. No, that was last year.
Yeah, where they had to do it a couple, currently I don't remember it, where they had to do it a couple do-overs and things just weren't working well. I think hopefully everybody's pretty happy, and I'm looking forward to what reactions are going to be after the second event registration, because I kind of think that's where, if there are going to be gripes, that might be where we see some of that as well. So let's move on from there.
So just real quick, were you surprised at all that so many teams, like it was a crazy number, like 95% of teams got into their first choice?
Yeah.
I just thought that was like really unexpected, to go through this whole like preference process. I really kind of felt like they would almost look at this because there was so much conflict and so much competition to get teams into the events that they wanted. But like almost everybody got into their first event. I just thought that was kind of crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it will be the second event that's really going to prove that pretty hard, because I mean, there's no way 95% of teams get in their second event with more and more teams going to 2 events, unless it just kind of randomly works out that way. I'd be very surprised if it was their first preference choice, and maybe that's not even a big deal to teams. We'll see for that. So Andrew and Kristine, I'll ask, kind of shoot that to you. Like, I mean, how heartbroken are you if you don't get into your second event that you might have other years?
Kristine?
I mean, for us, we're in districts, pretty much everything except for Maine is like drivable, there and back in a day. So, I mean, we can be flexible. We have a lot of events in Massachusetts this year. So, I mean, I think it'll be okay either way. We'll have to wait and see, though.
We're worried if we don't get into the event we'd like. We're shooting for Central Valley Regional, going for a week 4 and a week 6. And the reason we're worried is because California has a really interesting schedule this year. It's not the most ideal, where if we want to play any other time, we're going to be playing back-to-back. If we want to do our local events of SVR or week 5, or SFR, which I believe is week 3, we don't want to be doing back-to-back, so hoping for CVR.
And one thing I just want to mention, our producer Nik has mentioned us that they have a minimum of a 3-hour drive for their next event. So everything's bigger in Texas. So you guys, I think, luck out pretty well with so many events around you.
All right, want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, a big thing that's been in the news, both kind of globally as well as, on a micro level at FRC, has been the kneeling during the national anthem. So one of the most active threads on Chief Delphi the past few weeks refers to the current, quote, rules and expectations for FIRST Robotics Competition events, which I didn't even know existed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
Specifically, Rule E36 that states, quote, team members must observe the code of behavior for the presentation of all national anthems, and E37, which says teams must stand facing the flag, maintain a respectful silence, and remove hats during the national anthems. So recently, we've kind of seen these types of protests pop up in professional sports, and now it's even kind of seeping down into the high school athletics level with players kneeling. So, Andrew, let's take the global politics out of it for a second and simply look at FRC. Do you think it's something that we're going to see, any sort of protest during national anthems, and kind of also regardless based on the rules and guidelines that are outlined, do you think there could be penalties assigned, trying to enforce E36 and E37?
Well, this is a really interesting topic, and to be completely honest, I have no idea if we'll see it in season. I don't. From my side, my coast, I don't know if we'll see it over here, but I know it's definitely an issue that people are passionate about. Whether or not it should be penalized, I don't think it should be, regardless of how you see the issue. I mean, if we're here in America, you have a right and a freedom to protest and to have the freedom of expression, and that should be respected. Whether or not, I agree with you, I'm going to defend your right to do that. I just hope that if people should choose to do it, they remember who they're representing.
Yeah. Kristine, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Andrew on this one. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. It's months away from official events, so it'll be interesting to see if, this is still such a, pressing topic for not only America in general, but for our community and the FIRST community. I mean, like Andrew said, I don't think there should be any penalties if it's done, respectfully like it has been, like we've seen in the media. So we'll have to see. And it's interesting that that there is a rule about it. There's so many little event rules. If you actually go on the FIRST website, there's a lot of them, including hoverboards and drones too. So.
I'm going to hop in here, and there's a couple things that really pop into my mind. And first off, I'm going to say something on behalf of fun. We bring this up because this is a news story. It's a topic story. We understand the sensitivity of it. And for our due diligence, unless it really comes up again, probably don't expect to hear from us about this, maybe on a Candidly Speaking or something. But this is something we bring up because it is current and relevant. It's not something we're going to be belaying week over week. With that said, a couple things pop into mind. First off, personally, I really don't care either way. Do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't offend me, and I'm sorry if you're offended by that, but I don't really care personally, and I think a lot of it is because a lot of attention is drawn to it. In FIRST, in general, there's a couple things that pop into mind. One, it could very well die out over the next few months, and nobody's going to remember, and nobody's going to care, like 90% of things in Chief Delphi that get brought up. That's option one. Option two is that we will see it at some sort of a couple kids doing it or something like that. I know somebody in chat posted kids might do it as a novelty or just as a maturity factor. That's quite true. And I really think it comes down to how much attention we pay to it. And the benefit of being in FIRST is while we do have professional camera crews, it's not like there's a sky cam going by capturing every student kneeling in the stands or anything like that. So I really think this is just something that I'm trying to take the politics out of it as it relates to FRC. I don't think we're going to see it. If we do, and whatever. I mean, it's one of those things where should students be penalized? Should teams be penalized? Should somebody be disqualified from an event, or should a team not receive an award? No, I think that's a really ridiculous and stupid thing to expect. If a big protest is made out of it, that's one thing. Second thing I want to mention is just in general for behavior. I am a big fan, though, of setting expectations. When I was on a team, if I was a drive coach or something like that, I would have expectations of my drive team and expectations of the teammates that are there. And if it's something that's not representative as a team in general, then that's the way that goes in my book for it. And take that as you will as it goes to other ways as well. So that's my piece on it, Justin. I'm not sure how you feel about it and if we'll see it in FRC at all.
Yeah, I just think from a logistical standpoint, it's kind of difficult to kneel and stand. So even that alone might limit some of it. But I just kind of, just as a broader review, I just think you have to make the decision that's best for you and your team. And like Andrew said, what's really important, even in individual action, when you're, especially if you feel like an FRC event as opposed to an NFL football game, your actions kind of reflect, and we preach this a lot on our team. The actions of one person really can affect kind of the entire team and how the team is viewed. So I think if for some reason, protesting the national anthem is important to you for whatever reason, I think there are ways to go about it that doesn't necessarily have to impact a FRC event. Yeah. So I would be surprised if we saw it all. But I just encourage everyone to think about the ramifications and the opinion and how it's going to look in your whole team. So hopefully
Justin,
it doesn't.
I'm going to ask you a question as a teacher and as somebody who is kind of a lead thing. And maybe you don't have this fully hashed out yet, but is that a certain type of expectation you set on a team level, or how do you view something like that?
Like I said, we preach that if you have a Ranger Robotics shirt on, assume that, judges, other teams, everyone's watching you. And, to me, it's kind of no different than someone overhearing like inappropriate language or an inappropriate conduct. It's just going to look bad on the whole team. And that's not saying that protesting the national anthem necessarily makes you look bad. Mm-hmm. I think there are certainly viable reasons to make these protests, but just kind of be cognizant of not everyone is going to view it the same way. So just kind of, I guess, find the appropriate way to protest. And if it really came down to it, if one of my students said, you know what, Mr. Montois, I really think, this is important to me, that he's got to make that decision, and we probably wouldn't stand in the way. But I think that cooler heads will prevail. I feel like at FRC event. The real question is, just as like in a sidebar, because there's a Chinese team coming to Finger Lakes. There's been teams from Turkey and Mexico that I've been in events at. So I just, what happens during those national anthems? Do you stand for the Canadian national anthem but kneel for our own? Like I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. Like how does the Canadian national anthem make you feel? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think everyone is just going to stand, and hopefully it won't become an issue. Yeah,
that's a fair point. Anybody else have any other thing to wrap up this subject with?
Just what Justin was saying about the other countries. That's something I've been thinking about. Where, as I was saying, here in America, you have the freedom and liberty to respect or decline to respect our anthem as you please. But I'm telling everyone I know, if I catch anyone kneeling or trying to disrespect another country's national anthem, that is they're getting an ass whooping from the entire arena. That is wrong.
That's a interesting thing to bring up. And somebody mentioned in chat that it's not a protest of national anthems. It is whatever people say it is for things. I mean, many people say it's one way, maybe people say it's the other. That's not what we're here to debate for something like that. So keep that in mind as well. Kristine, any last follow-ups from you?
No, I think, the discussion points that we've had are really applicable to pretty much any rule that you find at the event rules. It's like, having somebody in the pits during opening ceremonies or the award ceremonies and stuff, it's written in there that you can have X amount of people, but when it becomes an issue and you start kind of backlashing, that's when it becomes a bigger issue. So, hopefully people will choose what they want to do and then do it respectfully. And, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. Let's move on from this then. And before we do get into our next segment, we do want to remind everybody that near the end of the show that we will be giving away that awesome sticker prize from Wordplay All Day and, of course, from Kristine. Kristine, how did you put what it was? It's going to stick to you or something?
If you stick around long enough, maybe.
There you go. Stick around long enough. Yeah. So, if you're watching the show, don't forget to click follow and subscribe to us for a chance to win that near the end of the show as well. Of course, you never have to pay. We would be delighted that you help us keep going and keep creating shows, but we're never going to. We'll beg you a little bit for money, but we're never going to really hardly harp that down as much as we can, because we enjoy doing this as everybody, and we thank everybody for who can give if you were able to as well. So don't forget, those subs do get a 5x chance to win the sweet prize, and we'll see who wins that later on.
Yeah, so last Wednesday marked the International Day of the Girl, which, according to the UN, aims to highlight and address the needs and challenges girls face while promoting girls' empowerment in the fulfillment of their human rights. Now, FIRST plays a micro role in this grand scheme, but still impacts hundreds of thousands of girls each year. So, Andrew, we know that you worked with a lot of teams before. How do you help empower female students and fellow mentors to bring equality in FIRST?
It's a great question. That's something I've more recently become a lot more passionate about. Until a few months ago, or actually about a year ago now, I didn't really understand the whole issue, and now I do. And what we do, or what I try and push for on my teams at least, is a culture where everyone views everyone as a person, as the same kind of equal person. I tell my students that as soon as you enter the lab, no matter who you were coming in, what your background is, none of that matters. The only thing that we care about on our team is who you want to be and what you do. And I think creating that sort of culture where it takes the person out of the picture, it takes away all the extra, what's the term? It takes away any inherent bias of, how I feel about this, how I feel about that. We're team members. We're part of Valkyrie Robotics. We're part of Spartan Robotics. We're part of Madtown Robotics. This is who we are. And in this team, we're going to treat each other exactly like that. I think creating that type of culture really helps mitigate some of this inherent struggles that young women will face in FRC.
So something that I've noticed on, the team that I'm on, a lot of my students come from different, backgrounds. Do you think that the culture is kind of creating itself amongst your students? Or do you feel like you really have to kind of promote it and kind of guide them into that type of culture?
It's been different on every team that I've been on. For some teams, it definitely needs to be a little bit more coerced, and that's just a product of the area and how the education system there is. I've been on teams where everyone gets along perfectly. You don't need to say anything. That was a fun one. But right now I'd say it's a little bit of a good mix of both. The area that I'm working in has a good school system where they really try and promote equality and not judging others. But it's high school; it happens. So as soon as we enter the robotics lab, we say, "All right, all that's out the door. This is how we are."
That's awesome. So before you said that you weren't as really aware of the whole topic of bringing equality to women and, young females. Is it because you feel like on your high school team or in situations that you were in formerly, like it wasn't an issue, or it just wasn't something that you noticed necessarily?
It definitely was. It was definitely an issue. When I can't say when I was younger. I'm 21, but
please don't say that.
I used to always. I was very, and still am, very naive, and I'd see the world the way I always imagined it. So when I approached a situation, I'd say, well, just because you're a boy or a girl doesn't make you better or worse at robotics or at anything. And I always had this idea that everyone else saw the world that way as well. And clearly that is not the case. But it was really about a year or so ago where I had some friends who really helped expose me to things. And I realized, wow, that's not the case. People definitely do have those biases there.
Hey, Andrew, I want to ask a follow-up from Project Gemini 43 in chat, who asked you for teams that you do need, I'm going to read verbatim, for teams that you need to promote it on, how do you promote it?
It's definitely a culture thing where I'll really push within my students, this is how we treat each other, this is how we see each other. I really try and push the idea of as soon as you walk in the door, all that's gone. All your preconceptions, all your old notions, how you used to act, how you used to be, that's gone. When you come in here, this is who we are as a team. This is who you are as a team member. I really think doing that promotes a positive culture.
So great stuff, Andrew, and I couldn't agree more on a lot what you're talking about. I'm going to talk about some things that popped in my head in general, being that I'm not on a team active anymore and I'm doing fun. So there's a couple of things that pop into my head for that. One, for fun, in regards to that, we do have an overwhelming amount of males in fun, and we are, I wouldn't say actively working towards getting more females, but and I'll let Kristine speak for herself, but it is a huge goal of us to enable every single person in our program to kind of get where they want to go for things. And, I'll tell you, I think Kristine and I, personally, between us two, have had a wonderful relationship helping promote her business as she helped promotes First Updates Now with all the awesome stuff she does. And personally, just watching her grow in confidence in this program has been awesome, and I'm very, very happy to see that. And on a second thing, and she's just one of the many females we do have in this program. On a second level to that, I'm going to go back to a time when I was on Wave Robotics 2826, and what pops in my head with that are a couple of things. Typically, female students who came in the program tended to be a little bit more on the reserve side of things, and we did have to work pretty hard to try to open up that can of possibilities for things. And a big word that's thrown around a lot is empowering. I look at it as more enabling than anything else. Empowering is you have something, you give it to somebody else. It's more opening that door and encouraging and providing opportunities for everybody out there to get more leadership amongst your females or more buy-in. And an event that I'll tell you that I'll rave about all day long when I was on Wave that they absolutely loved, and it just happened this past weekend or so, was the Indie Rage event in Indianapolis, which is an all-girls off-season robotics event. And, I'll tell you, I saw so many female students just brighten up and take the lead and take steps. The first year that we went there, the following year was the first year that we had a female on our drive team. That same female the next year became the student lead on the team. So these are, I'm not saying Indie Rage is all because of that, but these are possibilities that help open up for that. And there's so much unlocked talent amongst female students and mentors in these programs that the misconceptions need to go away. And they are starting to, but obviously it's slow and not at the rate that we'd all like it to see. But I'm very, it's what I've seen in FIRST compared to some other programs that I've been actively part of is very encouraging.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. So just to bring up one of the points that's been brought up in chat by, who is this? Said 1458. So this is something that, I've definitely heard before. You saying, not trying to sound like the bad guy here, but a lot of examples seems like girls are getting treated better than guys on some teams. So, I can see where people come from with that, but at the same time, you have to understand, like, in a predominantly male kind of like environment, whether it's the workforce or even just in classrooms, it's not easy to just kind of be like, oh, I have no prior knowledge or prior skill sets to something that I'm interested in. I'm going to go dive in and try it. And it's especially interesting. Like, I'm lucky enough that I'm mentoring a team right now where it's a lot of young adults who, are used to kind of making an even playing field and, not really worrying about gender. But for a lot of teams, it's predominantly older mentors that are not used to interacting with young women or even, female adults in an environment where there's, design and technical things going on. So it's really different for everybody. It may seem, a little more enhanced in some areas and overdone, but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get to that equal playing field. And Tyler, thank you so much for, promoting my artwork. It was a big, scary thing to do, jump publicly into drawing robots when people are just talking about, the technical things. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And you had to do the work though. That's the point of what I'm saying is that you did all the work to it. All we did is establish a cool partnership, I think. Right. So, that's an awesome thing. I do want to respond to a comment. It got deleted because of the bot filter on here, but Project Gemini 43 asked in regards to one of my responses, isn't doing things based on sex sort of the opposite of what Andrew said, putting it all aside completely? With regards to a girls-only competition, why not just go based on who's best at driving, whether male, female, black, white, etc.? So I just want to respond to that. It's the benefit of the all-girls competition that Wave Robotics went to when I was on that team, and realize I don't represent Wave now, was that it provided them an opportunity to want to get up and do it. There's many things where, there was that conception that they, for 7 years, we've had all males drivers the whole time, that a female might not be able to do it or something like that. This just provided that springboard, that opportunity to do something like that. We didn't put a female on the drive team because she was female. She ended up trying out just like everybody else and got put on because we thought she was the best fit and going to be the best option for something like that.
So one question I have for Justin. So Justin, you're a teacher, right? Yeah.
Justin has muted himself. Yes, go ahead.
Are you still a teacher?
Yes.
So I feel like men are actually the minority in those, fields of study like that, and nursing. And I feel like that's not talked about as much. I know the comment that I had just read before was saying that they feel like it's kind of, over spotlighted with, females in engineering, but it's interesting to think about how men are pretty much the minority in teaching.
Yeah, especially at the elementary level. Like the elementary level is so predominantly female. And just from a kind of being around education for a while now, they're desperately trying to get more male teachers into the elementary schools for a variety of reasons. But then it almost flips at the high school level, where I feel like the high school is predominantly predominantly male teachers. But just to kind of bring it back to the overall discussion on our team, and to really echo what Andrew said, it's more of a culture of, who's going to kind of be the best person for the job, regardless of any of the things that are kind of in the news now, whether it's gender, sexual orientation, anything like that. We just try to find the best, the best person for the job. And what really helps us, excuse me, what really helps us on 3015 is we have one of our team leads, our teachers, is female. So just having a female in a leadership position on our team from the teacher level really is shows a great example for the girls in our team. And this year our president, vice president are both female. We have upper mechanical team leader that's female. So, and those weren't chosen because they were, let's try to get some females on the team. We just found the best people for the job who happened to be female. So I just think that, their willingness to kind of apply and have the confidence of, they're just going to kind of find the best person for the job really needs to be a culture thing, just like Andrew said.
Kristine, do you have any extra follow-up on this to kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, so when I was in high school, I was on a robotics team, and it was definitely a push for us to try to get more girls in the shop and get them doing more design and strategy and that stuff. And I remember I talked to a judge about it when we were at the Annapolis Regional, and she had asked, what's a goal for your team this year? And I was like, my personal goal is to make sure that even if I don't know what to do, I want to be in the shop and I want to learn how to do it. And even with my grandfather being on the team and my family, like I still had to make the conscious effort to push my way into the shop and get on the lathe, get on the mill and get the work done. And we actually ended up winning an award for that. And they put it in the speech. So it felt pretty cool. But for me personally, being able to see the team that I'm on now and seeing other teams in New England and around the world that are, just kind of autonomously having women in these lead roles is really awesome. And hopefully 10 years from now, we won't have to have these massive campaigns to make sure that, young girls and women are getting the opportunities that they deserve and that everybody deserves.
All right, Justin, let's roll on to the Beach Blitz coverage.
All right, so Andrew, since we're lucky enough to have you on, an awesome event that certainly gets a lot of attention 2 weekends ago was Beach Blitz. So first, a big shout out to one of our contributors and hosts, Pauline Taskey, for being a huge part of coordinating that event as well. So Beach Blitz featured 36 great teams, including the Houston World Champs, 973 Greybots. 973 would take the #1 seed, and with the help of 330 and 968, took the event in 3 matches against the number 7 Alliance with 4201, 696, and 2659. Wow, it really feels like some FRC Top 25 recap right now.
A little bit, huh?
So, Andrews, can you tell us more about kind of what makes Beach Blitz so awesome?
All right, yeah. So Beach Blitz is easily in my top tier of events, if not one of the top. And the reason that I think it stands out above every other event, not just in California, but every off-season event and most in-season events actually, my favorite thing is that they focus on inclusion. They focus on making everyone feel belonged. They want everyone to feel like they're a part of the club, so to speak. And it's a weird thing to talk about because not something that a lot of people think of. But when you're at most of these events, whether it's off-season or in-season, no matter how high the quality is, there's an unspoken club in FRC where it's, the top mentors, the top students, the top teams, where they all sort of just hang around each other and they close themselves off. And even if it's not intentional, it's terrifying to go up to them. I mean, when I was a student, I was terrified of some of the powerhouse teams in California. And now I mean, I look up to them, of course, but
they were terrified of your post on G Delphi, dude.
Oh, let's not bring that up. Well, you just gave Adam Herbert a week's worth of harassing.
Probably.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, no, it's for those teams' perspectives, it's scary sometimes. And what Beach Blitz does really well is everyone feels a part of the team. Everyone feels a part of the event. I remember there was a student who walked right up to the field staff, right up to scoring table, and said, "How does the FTA?" I think it was FTA. He said, "How does FTA work?" And I believe it was Pauline who said, "Here, we got an FTA badge, we got a shirt. Want to help out and learn?" They're very inclusive, and that's one of my favorite parts about it. But another thing that
they
really
didn't card them or anything like that.
No, I mean this kid, you didn't need a card. I mean, he looked like he was.
You're just setting it up
12.
too well, man. That's the thing. So
that's what I've heard. It looked like he was 12 or 13. He had a baby face, but it was great seeing him out there. And he was super stoked about it too. He was getting all into it. He had the tablet with him the whole time. He was on his phone, just running around to every disabled team. It was great. But one of the things I do want to mention is the volunteer age. I think the average volunteer age was in the mid-20s, if I remember correctly. So while you're bringing up, carding is the guy old enough. I mean, that was one of the top events I've been to, run by college students, really.
Yeah, there was an awesome picture, and I didn't prep it, but there was a pretty awesome picture that I know Pauline posted of a lot of the volunteer crew there, and I think everybody in that picture is under 25. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, this kind of actually goes back to our previous conversation a little bit about it really shouldn't matter what age or anything like that, but it still says something about being able to take initiative, right? And it's not something we point out because they are under 25. It's something we point out because it's awesome, and it's something that is just a massive undertaking for people who probably have not done it before with minimal experience, and that's something that is pretty sweet. And there are some people obviously have plenty of experience in FRC, but I would guess that some of those people did not. And actually, Nik has that picture queued up. Can we take a look at that? So, yeah, I mean, what a great crew. I mean, you can just tell it was a fantastic event, man. So, I got to ask you, by the way, is there one team that just really wowed you there or anything like that? What kind of stood out to you at the event from the teams?
So, I mean, of course, I can give the obvious answer of my favorites. It's 973. I mean, they're WoW every match. They were WoW World Championships, WoW at the Festival of Championships. I mean, those guys, they're close friends, fantastic crew of people. Always wow seeing them. But aside from them, because I know I talk about them way too much, two teams that from SoCal area, they get a lot of action down there, but not always the most known, or actually three, now that I think about it. 330, 3309, fantastic shooters, fantastic gear scorers. If they were at any competition outside of California, I'd almost guarantee #1 seed, easy.
Yeah, Firebots is a pretty awesome team. They're doing a lot of shooting at Beach Blitz.
Mm-hmm. And then I do have to give a shout out to 4276, Surf City Vikings. Very underappreciated team. They're one of the event hosts and a really fantastic gear scorer. They were at championships this year. Didn't make it to an elimination rounds, but they should have. They definitely should have. It's because of a Mechanism drivetrain, if I remember correctly.
I'm not sure, Justin and Kristine, if you guys had a chance to watch Beach Blitz, so I'm not sure if you need to chime in at all.
I didn't have a chance to watch it, but I just kind of have a quick question to everyone. And it just kind of, as everyone was talking about this, I was thinking about this. So it doesn't have to be a long discussion, but I just feel like when it comes to off-season events, nobody talks about regional and district events the way they talk about off-season events. And I'm just kind of wondering why that is. Like off-season events, no one talks about their regional, like we're talking about Beach Blitz. Like, oh, they love it so much. The people were fantastic. It just is never like that. Nobody talks about a regional district event like they talk about IRI. I just don't know if it's because the pressure of the regional district season is off, so teams are more relaxed and therefore have more fun. But I don't know if you guys have noticed anything like that or have any reasons as to why that might be. People love their off-season events, and they don't really seem to necessarily love their regional or district events so much.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point, but from the viewpoint of somebody who runs an event, in districts, we're kind of structured and we have to follow kind of a basic scaffolding of how to run an event and how to kind of manage it. But at the same time, when we're running these events during the season, we're going through all of the game tweaks and issues that are coming up within the game, within logistics. So, I mean, that's kind of a shitty part that we all have to deal with. And, sometimes it gets ironed out by the end of the season. Sometimes it doesn't. But the stress of that is gone by the time we get to off season. I think everybody's a little more laid back. Usually you get kind of some downtime to, regain your sanity and enjoy it a little more. And it's not as stressful. One thing I love about Beach Blitz and Chessie Champs is, they the people that are running the event really have fun with it. They, they do the, Chessie Arena. That's really cool to see that kind of get implemented, and you get to kind of tweak things the way that you want. You get to kind of joke around and do, the couch and all that stuff. So, I mean, you get to kind of add your own personal flair to it while keeping it competitive. But, you know, you've already dealt with the springs breaking all season, so you know what to do about it now.
But to kind of chime in, I think a lot of it is, honestly, there's nothing at stake, really. I mean, everybody wants to win an off-season event, right? But you're not potentially not going to world championships because of it or something like that. So I agree with both of you that the stress is just not there on both ends, both on volunteers and on teams as well. No, you know, it's pretty rare to see tons of teams scouting. Even at IRI, most teams I would bet do not scout for IRI. Some do, but you know, something like that is just, you know, everybody's just there just to have a good time. And if you win, yeah, that's pretty awesome. If you don't win, you know, whatever, you go home and you can still have a good time with it as well. Andrew, I don't know what you think, buddy.
I think we're very lucky to have some really amazing regionals over here in California. But if you know, come in season, I got the choice of going to a California regional or a California off season, 8 out of 10 times I'd choose a California off season. They're just so much more fun. I think the reason because of that is, and I'm not saying, you know, official events don't do this, but there really is a heavy emphasis in most of our off-season events that the focus is on the team experience and the volunteer experience and everyone trying to have a good time. Yeah. At in-season events, like you said, it's a little bit more stressful. The whole goal is to get the event going, to get the qualifying, to get some winners and send them to the world champs. Off seasons, I mean, I maybe it's just, you know, benefit of the doubt, but I think they're a lot better run given certain circumstances. I mean, I think Beach Blitz was run for like 8 or 10K and made a profit.
Oh, in that respect, so from a financial standpoint?
Yeah, in terms of financial standpoint, yeah. I should clarify that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys did have a field crash and delay, so let's not.
I
still
think
happen, right?
That was definitely due to external factors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, gotcha. Justin, do you want to wrap up your own question with anything?
No, I think that's a great discussion. I kind of I had a feeling that was going to be the answer, but it was just an interesting thing that I kind of noticed sitting here. But you want to do this giveaway?
Yeah, let's start the giveaway for sure. So, Kristine, tell everybody about how they can win.
Yeah, so before we wrap the show, it's time for our awesome giveaway. I wish we had like jingle music to go in the background when we bring up this part. But remember to win, you have to follow our channel, or for 5 times the chance to win, click that subscribe button. And for free Amazon Prime or only a few bucks a month, your support directly keeps us making the show for you. And to win, you need to type the following in the chat. And you can see it on my shirt and Andrew's shirt tonight. It is going to be #TeamDye. That's TEAMDYE. Team Die. And when you win, you get to choose between the St. Louis or Houston champ stickers.
Kristine, since we're talking about that, do you want to just give a quick elevator pitch about Team Die?
Yeah, so I actually had a mentor on my own team ask me this the other day, which is kind of frightening. So Team Die is a collaboration of originally 3 teams, and then it turned into 4. Team 1323, 971, and 125 during the initial, kickoff phase was looking at how to quickly distribute balls into the shooter. There is a paintball brand called Die Paintball Guns, I think, and their design is what really inspired everybody's CAD design. And then 148 kind of took off on their own once they did their redesign and totally nailed it. So on the back of our shirts, there's the CAD drawings of all 4 of the Team Die rotors.
Oh, awesome. Nick's got that up on screen.
Yeah, one of our college mentors, Jack, who's one of our new eager young mentors, was really excited about putting this together. He spent like months trying to get everybody's CAD designs and the right fonts and the right logos and got it together, and it's pretty cool.
Fantastic. We'll do that drawing in just a little bit here as we let people still get entered for it. Make sure you do follow or subscribe. A couple other quick topics to bring up, guys, before we wrap up. It's going to be a little bit shorter show today. Tomorrow does premiere the giant robot duel that, it's the duel of the century is what they're saying, the fight of the century between Megabots Inc. From the USA and, man, I'm going to butcher this, Tsurubashi Heavy Industry from Japan. And that's going to take place at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific U.S. time at twitch.tv/Megabots Inc. These teams have spent the past 2 years preparing a real-life giant robot fight, for what they say will be that battle coming up that we're all looking forward to. One thing to note, though, is that while this will be premiered live on Tuesday, the duel actually already did happen, and they've kept it secret, and they filmed it in a secret location, and they essentially took this and made this into a produced show. So if you kind of remember the I know Vex Worlds has done something for kind of doing a produced show area, and we've seen one for when it was like I Am First. Something similar to that is what I'm guessing we're going to see for that. So Andrew, I'm going to ask you, did you even know about it? And if so, do you plan on tuning in tomorrow? And if you do care at all, what expectations do you have for this gargantuan duel?
Oh man, I've been following this for just over a year now. I think I'm pretty psyched about it. My expectations, I don't think it's going to be as some people think it will be. I don't think it's going to be moving pretty fast. I got to see the USA one at Maker Faire over in San Mateo.
Sweet.
A little bit north of here. It was pretty impressive. I think it's going to be great. I'm full on Team USA. I'm going to be repping my USA shirt tomorrow.
USA.
It's going to be fun.
Kristine, how about you? Have you heard of this?
Yeah, so one of our game announcers from New England, Rob Messick, is on the Team USA team, and he moved out to LA with his family and has been working on it ever since. And he was on BattleBots as well with Team Lucky, so I'm really excited to see this. I don't know if I'll watch it right at 10 p.m. tomorrow night. It seems like it's going to be kind of long, but I'm definitely going to check it out at some point. The size of it is just absolutely mind-blowing. Like,
yeah, that's...
Yeah, like I'm friends with Rob on Facebook, and seeing like just in the last year, like the photos of the size of things that they've used to like put it together is just absolutely insane.
Yeah. So by the way, if you didn't notice, Justin's internet unfortunately has crashed, so he might not be joining us the rest of the time. And Justin died one time. So, man, I'm going to go back a bit, and I don't know you want to bring this up because I don't know if you remember. There was a movie in like the late 80s, early 90s that had like giant mechs fighting each other. And essentially, instead of fighting wars, they just had a represented mech from each country fight instead. And this is like the next progress to that, pretty much. I think it was called Robojocks off the top of my head.
Oh, man, what a
something
name.
like that. So if you get, I'm pretty sure that's it. So if you get a chance, look that up. I think that's right. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think anybody has any expectations that we're going to be seeing like, fast-paced mech warrior battletech mechs, destroying each other, that sort of thing. So I'm looking for just the technology. I think that's what's going to be cool, right? What are we going to see for technology? Can they make it into a cool produced show? That sort of thing. I mean, the realisticness is they filmed, I think they said for like over 8 hours was the battle. So obviously there's a lot of slow moments during this time. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it if I can. If not, I'll catch it afterwards. So good times, guys. All right. So one other thing we do want to bring up as well is before we wrap up the show, we do have a special announcement. That those of you in our Discord, you already know about this, that it's coming, but we're very excited about this. We have a new show piloting next Tuesday, tentatively right now, next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern, called Funalysis. I don't know if I even said that right. We're working on it, guys. So, host Karthik Kanagasabathy, Mason Marquis, and Nik Lawrence are going to break down matches of the past and provide insightful strategy that your team can help improve its game. So some of the matches are going to be chosen by you, the fans, as we move into the future. Some of the matches are going to be chosen by us, and we're going to break them down. We have a teleprompter software, telecaster software, that all of our hosts are able to remote in from all over the country. And they're going to be doing the X's, the O's, the lines, all that stuff that you've seen previewed before for matches. And we're going to give them full breakdowns and advice on what they would do if they were the coaches and drive teams as well. So it's a pretty all-star crew there, guys, and we're pretty excited to bring those in. Karthik and Mason have, of course, done stuff with Fun before. We're very happy to have Nik Lawrence on board, who, of course, is also part of RSN as well, too, so a great partnership with that. So if you are a subscriber, by the way, I do want to mention we are going to have a very extra special giveaway. And what we're going to be giving away for subscribers only on that show is a custom 5x7 hand-drawn print from Kristine Atiyeh. And we're gonna order that. And if you're a subscriber and you watch the show, we're gonna be giving that away live. For those who aren't subs, we'll have something similar to what we're giving away today, but really cool. You can pick out any robot you want. Kristine will draw it. I'm glad I'm putting her on the spot for this because she's kind of nodding her head, and that's a good thing. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that. And it's next Tuesday, guys. Make sure you stop in. It's going to be a pilot show, so a lot going on with that, and we'll be looking for your feedback on how we can improve that show and make it better. Speaking of which, with the drawings, let's we got to pick a winner here. Let's do that here, and make sure I got everybody on here. That might be
Make sure you rig it.
Well, I think this guy's already won at least once.
What?
Wow. This is rigged. Said 1458, buddy. Congratulations. You have won the giveaway, but you're not precluded. We appreciate you still subscribing, and he has been a subscriber following since February 25th, 2017, buddy. So congratulations, and you'll get that as well. Yes, totally rigged, guys. Just fill the chat, #rigged. So, but yeah, congratulations on that. And we'll get that out to you shortly. So, so a couple wrap-ups. I'm just going to take Justin's part here since he's gone. Andrew Lawrence, hey, man, thanks for coming on, doing an awesome job on the show today. Kickoff's coming in just 3 months, buddy. What are you doing to get your team prepped and ready to go?
Oh, absolutely nothing. This is the first time in my 8 years of FRC that I'm taking a break before kickoff, and I'm so looking forward to it. Oh, this is going to be nice. The team, though, we're working on some side projects, hoping to get a robot together for Madtown Throwdown. And the less I have to see of that, the better.
Fair enough. Kristine, how about you? Neutron's getting prepped up and ready to go for kickoff. So what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, it seems like we've got a million things going on. We just did a really cool demo in Boston City Hall yesterday. It was called Hub Week Robot Block Party, and it was like all these crazy tech companies. Symbotic was there. The nonprofit that owns the space that we're moving into, Mass Robotics, was also there. We'll be moving in the next 2 months, still waiting on an actual move date. Yeah, so time to kind of pack up the shop and throw things away. We're working on a lot of small projects. A small group of young students are working on our mental health initiative. Everybody that bought a shirt, thank you so much for supporting that. We were able to donate close to $200 to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So yeah, it's been a pretty good off season, and we're just kind of, and we're running 7 FTC teams. So that's happening.
But as an aside, that's also happening as well. So fantastic. So great show today, guys. Thank you to everybody who helped make this show possible. If you want more First Robotics in your life, and well, hopefully you like what we do, we'd be absolutely delighted to have you click that follow, or even better, subscribe, unless you're Matt1511, who's taking his sub elsewhere because he doesn't win, apparently. He's the new Caltran, I think is what it is. So, but guys, yeah, we'd be delighted to have your support. You can do so for free through Amazon Prime, and really, it's what keeps us going, guys. This does cost money. We do have to put resources into making this happen. We thank everybody. Also, a big thanks, since our last show, we did hit over 4,000 likes on our Facebook page. So party, we did do a giveaway for that as well. But thank you, everybody. Really, from the bottom of all of our hearts, it's great. I do want to tell you one other thing. We have literally doubled our crew size for this next year. We have a huge project that will be happening during the competition season. We literally brought in another 20 plus people from 4 different countries for a new project. So I do want to tease that a little bit. We'll announce that during build season as well, maybe during even premiere night or something. But don't forget, we're doing that again this year. So we do also have t-shirts available on our website, thanks to Two Pencil Designs at firstupdatesnow.com. I do know it's really late, by the way. We are going to have FRC Top 25 t-shirts. I've had about a dozen or so of you request them. I'm sorry that is 100% my fault that we did not get those out. But we'll have a St. Louis, a Houston, and a final FRC Top 25. So if you really like those shirts, or your team's on one of them and you want to pick that up, I am hoping to get those out by next week. So sorry for being so ridiculously late on that, but we'll get them out as we can. So hey guys, on behalf of myself, Mike, Justin, Kristine, and our producer Nick, I'd like to thank you for tuning in, and thanks to Andrew for dropping in as a fantastic guest, and thanks to all of our moderators in chat for making this happen. Next Tuesday, tune on in for Funanalysis. We'll see you next time on First Updates Now. Talk to you then.